Welcome to the Bare Metal Cyber CCISO Prepcast. This series helps you prepare for the exam with focused explanations and practical context. Return on investment, or ROI, is one of the most essential tools in the security leader's toolkit when it comes to influencing decisions, securing funding, and demonstrating value. While security is often seen as a cost center, effective financial justification reframes it as an enabler of risk reduction, operational continuity, and business trust. ROI enables CISOs to explain not only what they are doing, but why it matters from a business and financial standpoint. Whether comparing tools, evaluating a new vendor, or choosing between in-house and outsourced solutions, ROI and cost-benefit analysis provide a structured way to guide decisions. They show that security spending is not about reacting to fear or compliance pressure. It is about protecting the organization in a cost-effective, measurable, and strategically aligned manner. The ability to express ROI clearly is a core part of executive security leadership. The CISO's role in this process is central. Security leaders must develop compelling business cases for investments in people, process, and technology. These business cases must be grounded in financial models that align with how the organization measures value. This often means moving away from purely technical or threat-based reasoning and framing investments in terms of cost avoidance, efficiency, and business enablement. CISOs must collaborate with finance teams to align on cost structures, depreciation schedules, and benefit projections. They must also track realized value after implementation, comparing projected returns with actual results. This feedback loop supports ongoing program refinement and increases leadership confidence. When financial justification becomes a repeatable discipline, the CISO earns a stronger voice in budget planning, vendor selection, and risk governance. Understanding the different cost components in security investments is critical. Direct costs are the most visible. They include hardware purchases, software licenses, implementation services, staff time, and third-party contracts. Indirect costs are less obvious but still important. These include the training needed for new tools, the process changes required for adoption, and the effort needed to integrate solutions with other platforms. Ongoing costs must also be considered. These include support agreements, renewal fees, subscription increases, and the cost of maintaining staff and processes over time. Opportunity costs reflect what cannot be done because resources are tied up elsewhere. For example, deploying a threat intelligence platform may mean postponing an endpoint upgrade. Finally, the cost of delay reflects the risk exposure that results from inaction, whether in the form of potential breaches, compliance violations, or missed detection. Quantifying benefits is the next step. Risk reduction is often the primary benefit of a security investment. This might be expressed as a reduction in the probability or impact of incidents. For example, deploying a data loss prevention system may reduce the likelihood of a sensitive data breach. Cost avoidance includes avoided expenses such as regulatory fines, legal settlements, recovery costs, or reputational damage. Operational efficiency is another common benefit. Automating a manual process such as user access reviews frees staff to focus on higher value activities. Compliance readiness is also a benefit. It reduces audit fatigue, increases control consistency, and improves the organization's ability to respond to regulatory change. Finally, reputational protection supports customer trust, investor confidence, and brand equity, even if these outcomes are harder to quantify. Calculating ROI involves comparing the benefit of an investment to its cost. The formula for ROI is simple: benefit minus cost divided by cost, with the result expressed as a percentage. A positive ROI indicates that the investment returns more than it costs. More detailed models include total cost of ownership, which factors in all lifecycle costs, and payback period, which shows how long it will take to break even. Longer-term projects may use net present value or internal rate of return to reflect time-based value. Presenting ROI to executives requires more than math. It requires visuals that show assumptions, timelines, and options. Graphs, heat maps, and comparative bar charts help translate security benefits into terms that business leaders understand. Each calculation must include clear assumptions, such as expected incident reduction, staff time saved, or compliance penalties avoided. For more cyber-related content and books, please check out cyberauthor.me. Also, there are other podcasts on cybersecurity and more at baremetalcyber.com. Cost-benefit analysis, or CBA, provides another valuable tool. While ROI focuses on a single investment, CBA allows the comparison of multiple ways to achieve the same outcome. For example, the CISO may compare 3 different vendors for endpoint protection, or evaluate the difference between outsourcing monitoring or keeping it in-house. CBA includes both financial and non-financial benefits. Some solutions may score lower on ROI, but provide strategic flexibility, faster deployment, or better integration. Each option is scored based on cost, risk reduction, and alignment with business priorities. Documentation of all assumptions is critical. This allows finance teams, auditors, and decision-makers to understand what the results are based on. CBA is particularly useful in constrained environments where not every initiative can be funded and trade-offs must be clearly justified. Several key metrics support investment justification. Risk-adjusted return on security investment accounts for both financial outcomes and risk impact. The percentage of compliance coverage achieved shows how well a tool supports control objectives. Operational metrics like reduced time to detect or respond or increased threat coverage help demonstrate effectiveness. CISOs may also measure the number of incidents prevented or the reduced severity of events after implementation. Budget utilization versus benefit realization highlights how effectively funds are spent. These metrics build trust with executives and boards by showing not only that security is active, but that it is efficient. They also support roadmap refinement, highlighting which investments delivered value and which may require rethinking. Measuring security ROI is not without challenges. Many benefits are based on events that did not happen, breaches that were avoided, penalties that were never issued. This makes quantification difficult. Attribution is another issue. It can be hard to prove that a specific tool prevented a particular incident, especially when multiple controls work together. Planning horizons can also differ. Financial teams may want quarterly returns, while some security investments may take years to mature. Non-financial benefits, such as improved collaboration or employee trust, may be vital but resist numeric analysis. There is also a risk of overstatement. Projected savings must be conservative, realistic, and based on evidence. Inflated claims will erode trust and may hurt future funding efforts. Communicating ROI to executives and boards requires a shift in language. The focus must be on outcomes, not technical features. Risk reduction, cost control, operational resilience, these are the terms that resonate. Visual comparisons help make the case. Before and after charts, risk heat maps, and trending graphs show how investments improve posture. Connecting benefits to revenue protection or cost savings reinforces the business value of security. Avoiding technical jargon is critical. Terms like threat vectors or packet inspection should be replaced with explanations about how data is protected, uptime is maintained, or compliance is assured. Security investments must also be shown to support broader enterprise goals, such as digital transformation, customer experience, or competitive advantage. The CCP exam evaluates both the terminology and application of ROI and cost-benefit thinking. Candidates must understand concepts such as total cost of ownership, payback period, risk-adjusted return, and net present value. They must also be able to apply these tools in realistic scenarios, choosing between competing solutions, responding to budget constraints, or preparing a funding request for a board presentation. The exam may present cases where assumptions must be tested, benefits explained, or financial trade-offs communicated. The CISO's role is not just to know the math, but to guide executive decision-making with integrity, insight, and alignment. Financial stewardship is not an administrative function, it is part of strategic leadership. In practice, the ability to calculate and explain ROI affects nearly every area of the security program. Tool selection depends on long-term value, not just feature lists. Vendor contracts must be justified not just on price, but on performance. Roadmap prioritization depends on understanding which projects deliver the greatest return for the enterprise. Governance reviews require financial data alongside risk scores. Audit committees expect transparency about where resources are going and what they are accomplishing. Financial metrics also support workforce planning, justifying the cost of automation versus staff or the training needed to reduce error rates or improve coverage. To build a culture of ROI awareness, the CISO must embed financial thinking into every phase of program design. Business cases should be standardized, with templates that include risk impact, cost breakdown, and performance goals. Vendors should be evaluated on life cycle costs, not just initial fees. Security engineers and GRC analysts should be trained to estimate cost impacts and track outcomes. Governance dashboards should include both financial and non-financial performance indicators. By embedding these practices, the CISO moves from defending spend to demonstrating value, from reactive funding to proactive planning, and from operational management to strategic influence. In summary, ROI and cost-benefit analysis help security leaders move from intuition to justification, from expense to investment, and from control enforcement to business enablement. These tools allow the CISO to make smarter decisions, secure executive trust, and ensure that every dollar invested in cybersecurity delivers measurable protection. Mastering ROI is not just about passing the exam, it is about leading a security program that earns its place at the executive table through results, not rhetoric. Thanks for joining us for this episode of the Bare Metal Cyber CISO Prepcast. For more episodes, tools, and study support, visit us at baremetalcyber.com.